Rightio, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Arrow Slingers. It's Wednesday, it's recording day, and we're doing it live as well. So why not do it all in one hit? Tonight will just be another quickish episode, as hasn't been a lot of darts. There was another Euro Tour played over the weekend, but that was won by Luke Humphries, who's now won 5, I believe. So not much to go over there. Rowby John was outstanding, so good to see him hit some form. And yeah, so with the World Championships coming up, we're just going to bring up a little bit in the background for me to talk about a little bit later. With the World Match Play coming up, there isn't a huge amount to go through. So I've decided that I'm going to have a look at the fitness side of darts. So darts, fitness, darts. Doesn't normally go together too well. We all remember the days of Leighton Rees and Andy Fordham and a few of those guys, Jockey Wilson, big dudes, big beer drinking fellas, and even in years gone by before them, you had Peter Manley, Adrian Lewis, Phil Taylor, all biggish dudes. But that landscape has changed now with the schedule that they've all got going on. It is all changing. So as I said, it sounds outrageous, darts and fitness, but bear with me, there's a little bit to it. I have to think of something. That's my note here. I had to think of something to go with because, as I said, the Euro Tour was all it was on. We do have a huge amount coming up now. You've got 4 Pro Tour events, floor events, Players' Championships, whatever you want to call them. I call them Players' Championships. 4 of those coming up across 4 days. I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And they're going to be absolutely massive. We don't want to miss those because that's all going to... The rankings points, I think it's $10,000 per event. And the rankings are built on that. So you've got the 16... We'll go through that properly later. The 16 seeded players, the 16 unseeded for the World Match Play. The 16 unseeded has so much room to change across potentially $40,000 on offer in your rankings. So massive amounts on the line in those 4 events coming up. And then the match play kicking off on the 16th, which if I once again bring up some a little queue, 16th is the 6th today. So if I bring up my calendar, which I'm not great at, just bear with me. It looks like the 16th is next Friday. So you've got time for Friday the 8th and Monday the 11th. You've got the 4 Players' Championship events leading into probably a draw by the Wednesday, I would say. We'll have the draw for it to kick off on Saturday, their time, Sunday, our time. So all kicking off next week, and I need time to do a big show in between. So a lot of the focus has gone into that. I know I'm rambling, which is good because it fills time. So I've filled the time with fitness, darts, and fitness. And what is the correlation? What do you need to do? What do the pros do? It's been on my mind a little bit because I classify now as a bit of a beach ball. I've blown up a lot. And a lot of things. I read an article from Matt Clark. It was on the Shot Darts website about he also had this issue of recent. Now, a lot of the times at the moment, I'm throwing all right. I'll be going okay. I'll throw quite a few tons back-to-back, 140s. Might have a moment against the Dartbot where I average 70 plus, maybe a little bit over 70. And then by the end of the match, I'm dropping down to that high 50s, low 60s, which is an incredibly large drop-off in a space of time. And that comes down to concentration. And then I'll throw again in about 2 hours' time. I might start again and do another 4 or 5 legs against the Dartbot. And I'll drop right back down to mid-50s. Then I'll jump up again to 62, 63. Same thing happens online. I might throw slightly worse because I'm normally playing online of a night time, which is when that fatigue is kicking in. So, yeah, it's all those ebbs and flows, and fitness, I think, has a lot to do with it. So some of the reasons for and the things we can do to improve our darts fitness. Cardiovascular fitness, so your aerobic capacity, your general fitness, whatever you want to call it. I call it just cardio for short. Some people call it. All that does is help spread oxygen around your body quicker. That's what cardiovascular fitness is. How quickly you're getting oxygen to your body which ignites your muscles and helps your blood flow and all that sort of thing, which means you can go longer and longer and longer. So that's required because you're throwing with your arm a lot in darts. You want that movement to be free. You don't want to get tired. You don't want it to get sore. It's also going to create longer stamina in your mental capacity too, because that oxygen spreading, the more oxygen to your brain, the better your brain's going to perform at a higher level. And that's such a crucial thing in darts, is focusing, because you're focusing a lot in darts. And you're also doing a lot of mental work. You're doing a lot of maths, not much gamesmanship, but maths on you've got to stop. And if, say, you've got 170 left and you've thrown 2 triple 20s, and then you've got to stop, you've got to think, what's my opponent on? What do I do? Do I go bull? Do I not go bull? So a lot of the times you want to have that in your head before, but if you don't, that's simple things. 90 could be the same. We'll get another example here, probably a slightly better example. With a 90 and 3 darts in hand, I'm always going 20-20 bull, because I'm allowing myself that shot at the bull. If your opponent's not on a finish, you then can go to triple 18s. But if that first dart slips into the 5s, you've then got a decision to make from there of which way you go. Do you set yourself up? Do you have a crack a different way? Lots of different things. So, longer stamina. Workout ideas for cardio. You can go for a run, ride your bike. They're pretty simple things. I don't like running. I do it because it's what works quickest, I think. So it's pretty simple. Jump on a rower, things like that. All right, so core strength is the next one. And the core strength is crucial. For anyone watching on either Facebook or YouTube, if you're watching on Spotify and you've got the video, that's good. If you don't, I'll have to explain it to you. Core strength is crucial to your stance. So anyone that's been watching Dimitri Vandenberg go about his work, you'll realise, Dimitri, if say the dartboard is up there and I'm standing completely straight, he is standing like this. And there is nothing to Dimitri's stance. And he could do that all day because it's just standing. Although it still gets a little bit tiring, it pretty much is just standing. Just bear with me, guys. Nope. So not much to Dimitri's stance. Now, for instance, Michael Van Gerwen, he has quite a lean. It's mainly at his hip, so it's not too bad, but he is leaning forward a fair bit. He's straight up through his legs, but he's got a bit of a lean forward. Vincent van der Voort a little bit further. Wes Newton a bit further into the side. Vincent van der Voort actually changed his stance a bit and stopped leaning so much due to he had back issues. So stance is crucial. So if you can have a stronger core, you're going to have a better stance and also help you keep your upper body still at the same time while you're throwing, so that you're not going like this all the time when you throw. For those watching, listening and not watching, I'm throwing my whole body forward because that's a temptation in a lot of people's darts throw, is to throw your whole body forward. Core strength is going to do that. Some core strength ideas are simple. It's sit-ups, it's planking, planker for plankers or wankers, but planking can help you a lot there. Leg raises. A lot of the times, sit-ups is probably not, that's a bad example in my opinion, because crunching your back too much is not a good idea. So yeah, some leg raises, a little bit of a hint to what they think is good for everything, but kettlebells, some swings with the kettlebells is always good, and yeah, just some general twists and things like that. So core strength, crucial, very crucial. It's going to support your back a lot, especially with your stance. Arm strength. Now, a dart needs to be thrown relatively hard, and I think that's something I'm having a little bit of issues with at the moment. I'm trying to pussyfoot them to the dartboard and just get them to go there and not go too far away from the 20s. It's not how you throw darts. Darts need to be propelled towards the dartboard and give them no chance to go wrong, so they're going fucking boom through the air. And so, if the less arm strength you have, the more that gets involved in the throw of the dart. So, for example, to throw... If you're watching, this is good. If you want to throw a dart nice and firm, but you don't have a lot of arm strength, you're going to find you're doing a lot of jerking around and a lot of your other arm. You'll get your shoulder up and down to try and get the dart there quickly. If you've got a bit of a stronger, some decent muscles, Gezi Price-like in your arm, there's going to be a lot less involved to get that force, meaning your upper arm is staying nice and still, and you're getting that power without having to do anything else other than that. Other than just thrusting forward at the front of the arm. So yeah, stronger equals less effort equals less movement. Less movement means less things that can go wrong. So pretty simple. Some exercise ideas: tricep dips, the old tricep push-ups, where you focus more on your triceps. Once again, a little bit of a sneak peek to the whole idea. Kettlebell swings, sumo squats, the whole thing with kettlebells is all good. The one thing I wouldn't recommend is doing full bodybuilding style 8 sets of full weight on your body, because I just think it actually throws you off when you go to practice later. Your arms are going to be buggered. You're not going to be able to move them, and that's not going to be good for trying to throw a dart. So some simple things, simple body weight things I think are good. It's some chin-ups, push-ups, tricep dips, all those sort of things. A little bit of kettlebells, a little bit of dumbbell weight work's not going to hurt you. Tricep raises are a good one. So long as you're not going overboard and pushing the weight where your muscles can no longer do it. And that's great if you want to bodybuild and grow your muscles, but it's not going to be ideal if you are trying to practice your darts in a couple of hours' time. You're not going to be able to hold it. You're not going to be able to hold your arm up in the air, and you're not going to be able to practice. So that's some pretty simple arm work there. I don't think there's too much in that. Mental stamina, 100% concentration is required when you're throwing your 3 darts. So you've got to throw. I'll do it towards you guys. You've got to throw, and you've got to be focused on your target. So at the moment, the camera is a 20-20. You've got to be focused on it 100%, and you've got to be counting at the same time. If you're above the 300 mark, you don't have to count as much. Or if you're on a simple number like 360, you don't have to count as much. You can just stay straight. But a lot of the times counting is involved. Counting depending on your score, you've got to think about what your opponent's on. If your opponent can get to a finish, are they getting to a likely finish? You've got to see what level they're at. If your opponent, say you want to leave, let's go for, you're on a 233 and you want to throw a 133 to leave a ton, something along those lines, but your opponent can only leave a finish of 158. It's not necessary to go for that 133. You can set up a different way. Something along those lines. It's hard to come up with those numbers in my head because I'm focusing on the camera here. But yeah, so there's a lot to think about. Your opponent's score, your score, leaving a finish, not leaving a finish, staying straight, focusing on the 20, because you are wanting to focus your mind on the 20. You can't just sit back and sort of fluff around and look wherever you want and just throw them and hope that they hit. You are going to focus on the target. All right, so your mental stamina, and it's the most difficult part of darts, and there's no surprise that cardiovascular fitness and general fitness gives you a fitter mind. You can train your mind further, and depends how far you want to go. Like, we can all throw good darts. Most of us listening could probably throw a good dart every now and then. I can definitely throw a good dart every now and then. I've thrown 2 180s today. Threw 4 the other, probably 2 weeks ago. I threw 4 in one night. 2 in a match and 2 in my own practice outside of that match. But not much else went right that night. A lot hasn't gone right today, and definitely hasn't been going right the last couple of days. But I definitely know I can, and it's not a fluke. That 180, when I hit it, I know what's feeling right and what's feeling good. It's just about keeping your mind so focused and so in the zone that you can continually throw that 180. Or a 140 or a ton, and just keep yourself in that zone and keep around that target on the 20-20 there. Where is it? On the 20-20 there. Keeping a nice ring around that is the important part, and that's where your mind plays huge tricks. So it depends how far deep you want to go for some exercises on your mental, not toughness, your mental fitness. We'll call it. It's not about mental toughness here. It's not about being macho and all that sort of thing. We're talking about mental fitness. Getting physically fitter, following all the tips we've just done. Well, not really. I haven't given you a workout tip, but I've just given you some simple tips. Getting yourself physically fitter will help your mental state. It's pretty straightforward, because you can do a lot of other things, right? Your diet's going to be standing, look at you drinking water, not beer or Coca-Cola. So a lot of those things are going to contribute to you feeling mentally better about yourself, about everything in general. Some other small tips for your mental healthness. mental health, mental well-being, mental fitness is the word I'm actually looking for. Your mental fitness in relation to that, you can do some breathing exercises. There's some pretty simple ones. Jump on YouTube. There's a million out there. And a little bit of meditation here and there. Some players are doing it. You're probably sitting and laughing, going, "What the fuck are you talking about? Darts and meditation?" But there's no surprise that they're linked, and a lot of players will tell you that they do similar things. So I'm all in at the moment with that side of things. I've done it before, and it's proven to work wonders. So I do a lot of the Wim Hof method. Anyone that's heard of that, it's all about cold exposure, breathing exercises, and meditation. And it's all that is done is it puts my mind in such a space where I'm thinking clearly. At the moment, I'm in the first few days of getting back into all sorts of fitness, so I'm actually struggling a fair bit. But I know in a little while it's going to start to pay off, and I'm going to be really rolling with how that's all working. So have a look at that properly if you want to get right into it and go deep into the mental edge, because it is one thing that will give you an edge over your opponents if you can get it right. I've tried it before, as I said, and I've had profound results. Not so much with my darts. I did play pretty well back then, but I was not actually competing at that stage. I was just throwing well at home. But in every other aspect, my mind was clear and focused, so that's what we're hoping for here. Hand-eye coordination is a crucial part of darts, as simple as that. When you're throwing things, hand-eye coordination is crucial. Your eyes knowing where your hand are, your hand knowing where your eye wants it to go, all that sort of thing. Improving that is pretty simple. Play darts or juggling, play catch, a lot of it by yourself. Sometimes I'll lie on the ground, throw a ball up to myself and catch it, throw a ball up to myself and catch it. Sounds boring, but it's actually quite fun. And a bit of ping pong. Never goes astray. Play some ping pong. Definitely tennis. Tennis is crap. So darts has changed, and you're seeing many more young players come through, and they're in reasonably good shape. So, as I said, gone are the days of Leighton Reese and Andy Fordham and Jockey Wilson, all those guys, as we said, Peter Manley, Phil Taylor, Adrian Lewis, all bigger dudes. They're very, very good dart players. Don't get me wrong. But it's all changed now, and for the good, which is what we like. A lot of the young guys, as I said, they're not in bad shape. They're not in Gerwyn Price shape, but not in bad shape. Damien Head is in quite good shape. Luke Humphries is getting a little bit bigger nowadays, but he's still in pretty good shape. You got the likes of Keen Barry's in good shape, the Rodriguez brothers, good shape, all those kind of guys. Callan Ridd's quite slender. They're all looking pretty fit. Ricky Evans is a bit bigger, but he's actually quite fit himself if you dig deep and have a look. But it's changed the way it is being played, and as much as we can all sit here and say, but Adrian Lewis and Phil Taylor were the absolute dominant forces, it's because the competition around them wasn't as strong as it is nowadays, not playing down Phil Taylor's influence on the game of darts. He was by far and away the best player we've ever seen, and I will back myself up in what I'm saying with that very shortly. Gerwyn Price is a prime example of fitness and doing that sort of thing. So when he burst onto the scene, I think in 2014-15, not really burst on the scene, but when he took it up professionally, he came across from rugby. He was going okay, doing well, getting under a lot of people's skin. But he definitely struggled to adjust to the lifestyle of pro tours, because when you first when you first start out, you can't do what he sort of does now and say, well, I've just played a semi-final of the Worlds, I've pocketed $200,000, that's equivalent to winning 20 Players Championship events. I can sit a few out. You don't have that luxury when you're first starting out, so you're on every Euro Tour qualifier you can to get on every Euro Tour event. You're at every Players Championship event, and you're even playing at probably a lot of local stuff just to get yourself right and get yourself competing. And it affected him a little bit. And then in 2017, he decided to get himself back into the gym and focus a bit more, get himself fitter, get himself healthier again. And the rewards were, by early 2021, he'd made at least the semi-final of every major except the prelim and the match play. And he's now won the Grand Slam 3 times. I think 2 times in that period that we're talking about to early 2021. 2 times the Grand Slam. He'd won a World Cup. He'd won the World Championships. And a few others, I think, in there as well. So definitely a prime example of if you get yourself fit, you'll be right. So now, a lot of the talk, not a lot of talk, but I did talk a bit about Phil Taylor a tiny bit earlier. Yes, Phil Taylor was a little bit unhealthy, a little bit on the bigger side. At the end of 2012, leading up to 2013 season, he made a definite change to his fitness and his regime and his diet. Now, in my opinion, 2013, I've spoken about it before, is the most dominant year, regardless of anything Phil Taylor's ever done. It's the most dominant and best performing year I've ever seen by a darts player, ever. And that's better than anything Michael Van Gerwen's done, anything Gerwyn Price did, Gary Anderson, all those guys. Go back as far as you want. I'll list you off again. We've done it before, I'll do it again. Some of the things Phil Taylor did in 2013. He won the World Championships. He won the Masters. He won the UK Open. He won the World Cup. He won the World Match Play. He won the Grand Slam, he won the Grand Prix, he won the Champions League, he won the Sydney Darts Masters. He was also runner-up at the Players' Championship and the Premier League. That's a win. That's a final in every single major and a lot of other tournaments that the PDC has to offer. Winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Winning 9 major titles that year and runner-up in 2 of them. And the Grand Slam was an 16-6 win. The Grand Prix was a 6-0 demolition of Andy Hamilton. The World Match Play was a massive win as well. He dominated. I don't even think he won Player of the Year. It was absolute domination, the likes of which we've never seen and will never see again, in my opinion. So, yeah, there's no surprise that his fitness helped him boost him up to that stage. When he was winning and probably wasn't focusing on his fitness, he had Peter Manley, John Part if he was playing really well. Rod Harrington was probably past his prime. Dennis Priestley also probably a little bit past it. When he was really dominating from that 2001 through to 2007 or 8 or whatever it was. And you fast forward to that 2013, he knew he needed to make a change because you had Simon Whitlock, Adrian Lewis, James Wade had burst onto the scenes, Gary Anderson, Peter Wright was making his way back to the main stage and playing dominant darts. Raymond van Barneveld was almost in his prime. So he needed to make some sort of change, and he made it a fitness change, and he went on that run. I'll probably talk about that year many, many times on this podcast, over and over again, because it is just absolutely outrageous. Right, so that's almost what I've planned right now, because there's just not much happening. So what are we at? We're at 23 minutes. It's pretty quick for an Arrow Slingers episode. So what I'm going to do quickly in the background is have a look at we've got the Pro Tour Order of Merit up here. And what we'll need to do is bring up the other Order of Merit. All I want to see is, so there's 4 Players' Championship events coming up. And that's how the match play works. Match play, we'll go over it again. The top 16 on the Order of Merit are seeded players. So we'll quickly run through them. Peter Wright, Michael Van Gerwen, Gerwyn Price, Michael Smith, James Wade, Anderson, D'Souza, De Vandenberg, Clayton, Cross, Noppert, Humphreys, Cullen, Van Dyvenboder, Chizzy, good to see, and Christoph Ratajski in 16th. So those guys are in at the moment. They're the seeded players, so they get the seeded positions, and they will draw. So the top 16 on the Order of Merit is the next lot, and that is top 16 that aren't on the other one, if you know what I mean. So what we can go through it a bit now. So he's on it. Damien Hedder is your highest ranked. So it's 1, Searle, Cullen, Clayton, Ratajski. Then Bunting, Schindler, Dobie, Rids, Dolan, Gurney, Hybricks, Martin Lukeman, Clemens, Smith, Radders Mazda, Matters Rasma, I think Lewis and Gilding round off the 16 from the other spots. Now, as we discussed, there is 4 Players Championship events with 10k on the line for each one. Simon Whitlock is currently on 32,500, needing to chase down Andrew Gilding, who is on 36,000, with Ricky Evans, Van der Voort, Keen Barry, Rodriguez, and King in between him. That's an easy amount of money to make up over the weekend, so there's a very good chance Whitlock will get himself in, and he's primed to. I'm tipping that he will get himself into the match play. A lot of people have said it's too late, he's got too much to do, but I think he'll get there. So you will see them. I'll try and head down to find our good friend Gordon Matters, who is on $14,500. So it would take an outrageously good performance for him to get in. He would need to probably win 2 of those events and have a few others sort of fall over ahead of him. But still, it's not impossible. He could do it, no worries. So I think that'll wrap us up for tonight. I don't want to prattle on for too long. A lot of effort will go into next week's show, and we'll be doing the preview of the World Match Play, which is a crucial episode. We love our preview episodes here. Do a lot of our prediction works, our tips. I've got a few in mind. What happens at the weekend doesn't really help me too much. Maybe 1 or 2 plays that I think can affect how I think they're going to go based on their form at those events. But other than that, not too much. So I hope I've given you a bit of an insight there into how overall fitness, exercise, and things like that can improve your darts and get you to a slightly higher level. And it's going to take a long time for you to see results. And that was the other thing I wanted to discuss. The pros aren't doing a lot of what I discussed because they're practicing so much. They're playing so much on that big stage. They're already darts fit. I'm not. They don't need that assistance. At this point in time, a lot of them would love to probably hit the gym better, hit the gym more, and eat better, and all those sorts of things. But they are just not doing enough to get it done because they're just spending so much time playing darts and travelling. But anyway, enjoy the Players' Championship events on the weekend. I think you're going to see Whitlock and Heddard do really well, get themselves primed, ready for the World Match Play. I think this is the first Players' Championship event since the World Cup, so we'll see how that form has taken them. And we'll see you next week for probably an hour-long episode of a match play preview. See you later, guys.